Measuring a new chain is a vital part of setting up a smooth drivetrain. Too short and you won't be able to shift to higher gears, or worse, you can even damage your expensive rear mech. Too long, and that chain will slap around noisily and unnecessarily, increasing the risk of dropping a chain. The normal method of measuring a chain involves wrapping the new chain around the largest rear sprocket and your largest front chain ring. You then offer up both ends of the chain, finding the shortest length that will allow you to refit the chain together using either a master link or a Shimano joining pin. Whilst this is ideal for hardtails, it doesn't take into account chain growth on full suspension frames. Chain growth refers to the distance between the bottom bracket and the rear axle, and how as a suspension frame moves through its travel, that distance can increase. As that distance increases, the amount of chain required to go from your bottom jockey wheel to your front chainring will also increase. If your chain is too short, it can even inhibit your suspension travel and at a worst case, overstretch the mech, resulting in it being ripped off the mech hanger and into your rear wheel. A costly and dangerous failure. So how do you measure a chain to take into account this chain growth? Well, for a start, we're going to need to actually thread the chain through the mech. Want it over the largest rear sprocket and around your largest front chainring. Pro tip, make a chain joining tool using an old spoke. I'm then going to connect both ends of the chain where they measured up using the traditional method using a zip tie. Now I'm not going to tie the zip tie fully tight. This is so that I can decrease the chain length if I'm able to. To begin with, I'm going to make sure that the mech isn't overstretched and that there's a little bit of give left in that cage. With that being the case, I'm going to ensure that I have the pressure settings for my shock, and then I'm going to take all the air out of my shock. With the shock depressurized, we're going to gently push down on the bike, cycling that shock through the full suspension travel, carefully looking at the mech as we do so. As we move through that travel, we're going to look at the rear mech. We're going to look at if that rear mech is inhibiting the suspension travel or if it's overstretching the mech. If it's not overstretching the mech or inhibiting the travel, we can then tighten up that cable tie, repeat the process, and then when we're at a point where we're pretty happy that the chain is as short as it can go without inhibiting either the suspension travel or overstretching the mech, then and only then do we return to the stand and actually cut and join the chain. You can now ride safe in the knowledge that your chain is the perfect length for your gear setup. Now, if you ever change your rear cassette to a higher or lower ratio, you should always fit a new chain, but also return and reassess the chain length. If you're just replacing a chain as part of standard routine maintenance, then you can just use the previous chain to measure up against if it's already been measured in this method. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Give us a like and subscribe, and tell us in the comments if you've got any other chain tips or hacks. One last thing. Always remember to put the air back in the shock because you don't want to jump on those pedals full weight with no wear in that shock. That sounds like an expensive bounce. Thanks for watching. Happy trails.